Hi everyone and welcome back to Chess for Charity. In this video, you are going to see an incredible puzzle. It is white to play and win. So the position looks quite drawish, but in terms of winning, there is one move and one move only. See if you can find it. See if you can find the basic idea. Here's the pawn just to show you the orientation of the board. White's going up the board here, and it's white to move and win. If you'd like to pause the video, feel free. It is pretty hard to find, and there are so many super cool moves. So try your best and see what you can come up with. While you're thinking about that, let me quickly encourage you to subscribe if you have not yet already. Half of the income that I earn in this channel goes directly to charity, so every like, every subscriber helps me out so much. Let's get started here. So you might think, if you're like me, look at all the checks, start seeing this, all sorts of checks, bishop checks, queen checks, these kinds of checks. That's kind of where my mind starts to go. And I first started with queen f4, with the idea being that I'm blocking this king off. But after a move like bishop f5, or even simply just king e7, there's no win here. It looks a little scary, but it's not that scary. They could even play c5 here, which is kind of crazy. But king e8, it'll be a draw. This will just be a draw. There's no way to deflect the king or anything. So, okay, let's keep going backwards. So this move is not good. It's not the win. Same goes for some of these other checks. This move looks cool, you're cutting through, but king g6. And surprisingly, there's nothing better than just a perpetual check here. You can check, or you can threaten checkmate, or this kind of thing, but it just doesn't work. f5 is one way to get out of it. Looks scary, but it's not working. Pretty amazing how this is not resulting in a win. But yeah, that's the best that white can do there, just a draw. So what is the first move? Let me just tell you the first move because there are so many cool moves in this game, or in this puzzle. The first move is a bishop move. Is it bishop here? No, because after king e7, they run away. Instead, it is the stunning bishop d8 check. Brilliant move. So what's the idea? Well, if the queen takes, you just play queen h5 and you win the queen. That's a skewer, right? The king has to move out of the way, you win the queen. Great. So then you might say, okay, fine. I can't take it. Very fancy. But I can just play king f5 then, because there are no other squares the king can go to, because my queen is watching. And now you might say, okay, now what do I do? There's queen g5, queen f3. You can try to take queens off. That's not going to do anything. So what is the idea? I was thinking queen g5. It just feels natural to put your bishop and queen on the intersection square and hopefully drive the king out. This is not going to be a win for white. This is actually a draw. Crazy. So even if you play something like bishop f6, threatening all sorts of stuff, it's simply not good enough. Queen d5, I think I'll stop the line there. So what is the move in this position? The only move that wins, queen f3. Now, the king has two different places to go. They can go to g6, they can go to e5. If they go to g6, this is a mate in 7. If you want to enjoy that, let's just see really quickly. Queen f6 just to show a sample line. And look at the way you're just tracking this king down. Here, h7, bishop f6. Look at that. And the best the computer's going to do is throw the pieces in the way and do this kind of stuff, but you're not going to be able to stop checkmate. All right, so that's kind of a cool mate in 7. So let me go back. So you don't play king g6. Instead, you play king e5. Now, you might think in this position, what do I do? Do I play bishop f6? That was the move that I thought of. I was really confident that this was the idea. It's not, because they can run king d6 and they get out. And there's no skewer because this is defended by the bishop and also the king. Even if you throw this in there, just run away. King d8 is even fine. Okay. So this is not the right move. So what's the right move in this position? Very similar to the first move, you play bishop c7. Now again, the idea is that if the queen takes, you play here, that's a skewer, and this is still not very easy to win, like for me, against like a supercomputer, but eventually you just bring your king in, pick off the pawn, try to find some way to coordinate your pieces. Your king and queen, that is. Okay, what else is there? This. You can't move any of these squares. So the king has to move. And just to say really quickly, if the queen blocks, do you take? No, you don't have to do that. Instead, play that move. Play queen g3, because then you'll win the queen for free. Right? The king's going to have to move, and then you can take this. That's more efficient. It's always good to look for those moves. Okay, the king moves now. Now, what's the idea? This is perhaps the move that made me the most excited about this puzzle. The move here is a bishop move. Right now, it looks like I'm threatening queen d3, but the bishops, or the king, can get out on these dark squares. So the move to do it is bishop d6. Look at that move. That move is now containing the squares that were the out squares for the king. So now I am threatening, I now am threatening that move for mate. Okay. And as a pro tip, if you hit X on your keyboard, that flips the board. You just learned that the hard way. Okay. So bishop d6. Now, what is the catch here? You might say, I'm threatening to put the queen here and give checkmate. Great. Well, the bishop can stop that, right? In two different ways. So isn't that something that I should consider? Before worrying about taking, let's talk about that. If this move is played to prevent queen d3 mate, there's actually a mate in 5 here. Queen f4 check, and depending on how the king plays, it's going to be this kind of thing. Just to show a sample idea. That's a pretty way to win it. Like that. Okay. So you can't play bishop to f5 because it's going to lead to a vulnerability of the king. Same idea goes this direction. It's actually funny. This is the out square that got blocked. So just as a sample, that's now the square that you need to run to, and you can't go there anymore because you just put your bishop there. Kind of cool. Okay. So after bishop d6, the best move is to take. And you might say, what's the big deal? I can play queen d3, and now this is not a skewer because the king can step to either two of the squares. Now let me ask you, does it matter? c5, e5? So surprisingly, it's actually the same result because of the symmetry of this position. If you play king c5, I play queen a3 check, you have to hold on to your queen, which means you only have one square. You play d5. Can you find the move? Pawn e4, deflecting the king away from the defense of this, right? If they take. But they don't have to take. Instead, they play king e5, but now is the killer move. Bang. Queen g3. Now you are forced to give up the defense of your queen. You take the pawn or you run away. One of those. There's no other option. So let's just say you take the pawn. This is going to be a win. All right, again, you just bring the king in, try to separate the bishop, try to attack the pawn, and eventually you'll be able to win this. Okay. So what if the king, instead of going to c5, went to e5? Well, the beauty of this position is it's completely the same. Queen g3 check, king d5, e4, and now it's the same thing on the other side of the board. This queen move, you have to give up the queen. You have to move, and then I take. Isn't that crazy? So all the way back to the beginning of this puzzle, it kicked off with this brilliant move, and after the king runs around, and some more pretty amazing moves in my opinion, there are just so many bishop moves. The bishop is the MVP of this puzzle. Oops, let me go. Yeah, let's go king d4, and then let's go here. That move is amazing. That's the move that motivates this whole video, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know. Be sure to leave some feedback in the comments. I always try to read them and respond to them. But that is it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.